to the October Lymphedema Patient Roundtable hosted by Lympha Press. As you can see, we have a robust panel, all the blue gal group tonight, serendipitously. We did not plan this, but we're all wearing blue. My name is Alexa Ercolano. I'm the Marketing and Communications Associate here at Lympha Press and a primary lymphedema patient. We are so pumped you're here tonight. So while I introduce all the gals on the panel, if you could just put your name and where you're coming in from in chat, that would be awesome. We'd love to greet you. So I'm just going to start up top for me. We have Leslyn Keith. She is a certified lymphedema therapist and holds a clinical doctorate in occupational therapy with an emphasis on lymphedema and obesity. She's the director of research and board president for the Lipedema Project and an instructor in lymphedema therapy for close training. And she's also published several articles and 2 books, one of which, The Lymphatic Code. You will have the chance to win tonight, so more on that later, but stay tuned for that. We also have Kathleen Lisson, who is a board certified therapeutic massage and bodywork specialist. She's also a certified lymphedema therapist. She is the queen of massage. Anything you need to know about massage, she's the one you want to ask. She's also the author of a number of books, which I have on my shelf behind me, but this one, her latest one, Stress Reduction for Lymphedema, you will also have the chance to win tonight. This is a literary roundtable. It's like a book club tonight. We are super pumped. So then we've got our usual crew. We've got Angela Jones, lipolymphedema patient and health coach. Hello, Angela.
Hello.
Hi. Catherine Rosenberg, pediatric cancer survivor, secondary lymphedema patient, advocate, and math teacher. And we have Amanda Sobey, who's currently barbecuing in her backyard right now because she's super Canadian. We love that. She's a lymphedema patient, certified personal trainer and nutritionist. She's also Madam President of the Lymphedema Association of Manitoba. So we're so glad she's with us tonight as well. And everybody's popping in the chat with their names. We've got a lot of our usuals and some new names too. We love to see it. We've got Fenton and Leela. We love to see our pals, Fenton and Leela. Diane in British Columbia, Canada, Amber from Tacoma, Ruth from Bucks County, PA, Andrea from Apache Junction, Arizona, on and on it goes. We love it. So I'm going to hush up, but real quick, we have the reminder we love to say, you know, most of us on the panel, about half of us, are not medical professionals. And the ones that are, they're not your medical professionals. So if you have medical questions, keep them general. We'll answer them best we can and pop them in the Q&A box, which is at the bottom of the screen. That way we can better keep an eye on the questions and answer them as the evening goes on. We have a lot to talk about tonight because most of us here just got back from the National Lymphedema Network conference. It's Breast Cancer Awareness Month. It's World Mental Health Day. It's World Metabolic Health Day. And we have these wonderful raffles to get to. So I'm going to shut up. I'm going to have somebody else jump in. Who wants to start?
One other conference, Kathleen, weren't you at the in Potsdam, the Lymphedema World Alliance Congress?
I was at ISL in Italy.
Oh, okay.
Conference. Yeah, I spoke.
It's conference season, everybody. It is conference season. Well, let's start with the NLN. Let's see. Now, Leslyn, Kathleen, Catherine, and Nazreen, who's usually on here too, they all spoke at the NLN. So I'm going to give the mic over to whichever of you ladies want to just jump in and share a little bit about what you talked about and any insights that from the experience in general of being there in Philadelphia.
Well, Catherine and I were on a panel of speakers that were all talking about central lymphatic dysfunction. And it was quite a wonderful panel. We had Dr. Max Itkin from UPenn speaking, Jasmine Zhang, also from UPenn, Catherine Rosenberg and I, plus Amy Rivera and Catherine Seo. We're all speaking about this condition. And I think if people who have been here at this roundtable have heard Catherine talk about her own story, and to see her story, not just for her to talk about it, but to put it up with full pictures and everything with her PowerPoint. Catherine was a rock star. People were We're so pleased with her presentation, and I think by having Amy and the two Catherines talk about their experiences, I think it really hit home. As myself and Dr. Zhang and Dr. Itkin, we're talking about the clinical aspects, but as we do on this roundtable, to hear the patient stories, I think that really makes it real to people. So I don't know if you want to say anything more about it, Catherine. What do you think about being in front of 200 people and talking?
Well, Leslyn, I was on the quite nervous side, because they were all in front of me. But the nice thing is because the room was dark, I couldn't really see anybody. So it made it a little bit easier, to really get my story out. Although there was some technical issues where I had somebody else's presentation up, so I kind of had to go with it at this point.
And you rolled with it so nicely. No one else had those things. I was like a couple things that came up in your presentation that no one else had.
Right. And I mean, I do presentations all day long, 5 days a week, because I'm a special ed teacher, but this was very different. This was a privilege, because everybody was focused and they were really intrigued on what I was showing. And I got to share a little story that not many people knew. And that was the way I actually got in to see Dr. Zhang. And that was a very true story. One of my doctors had sent me, not because of me needing it, but he wanted me to go evaluate to see how she was, because of the fact that he had a patient who was not as knowledgeable about lymphedema as I was. And before he sent them, he wanted to make sure that, because he didn't know who she was, that she had the right information. So he sent me on a mission to go do this. So I did. And I thought, okay, she's actually really good, and I'll see her next year. Lo and behold, I was seeing her 6 weeks later because of the central lymphatic issue that we never knew was actually happening. So it was a true blessing in disguise on the fact that I wound up with her before my central lymphatic issue, because I wouldn't be where I am right now. And I really wouldn't be where I am right now without a conversation that I had with somebody from the roundtable back in, I want to say we had the conversation in June of 2021, that led us to get me there, because of the fact that just based on what he was saying, it made sense that I possibly had something going on. And we really looked into it further. So, but she didn't even know that story. And I think I kind of surprised her a little bit with that story. And because she asked me afterwards about it. And it really, to see her on a different aspect, was really quite intriguing, to the point where she has said to me that she has learned so much from all of us that, she reaches out to us to find out, what else, if we have any other ideas, which is pretty cool, because not many doctors are willing to do that with patients. And I have to say, their doctors are really pretty much open books to work with their patients, which is a really nice thing to see, because it doesn't happen all the time.
That's awesome. And actually, Dr. Zhang is going to be at our November roundtable. So
Wow.
I'm really excited to meet her. Yeah, and we'll all get to hear from her and what she has to say, and get to experience her too. So that's awesome. Yeah, and to what Leslyn was saying earlier too, I think having the patient stories really does help underline what these issues are and what the patient experience is like, because I think a lot of obviously I'm not a therapist or a doctor, I'm a patient myself, but I assume there's kind of a tendency to get kind of caught in the weeds of, oh, it's another case, it's another this, it's another that. But when you hear the patient experience and you can really put a person to it and hear what that's like, it really changes the way that you consider it. Yeah, Layla just said patient stories are paramount. And
one patient story that we did not get to hear, and also to learn from him about the nutrition aspect of a central lymphatic dysfunction, is Kelly Bell. And he was not able to be there, but he was on the schedule. And so he was very missed, because he's kind of our undeclared, unacknowledged leader when we go into this territory of central lymphatic dysfunction. So I would say that he probably knows more about it than most doctors.
Yeah, I would agree. He's so knowledgeable. Well, that's great. Do we want to now with the raffle, since we're raffling the 2 books off, if anyone's just joining now, we're going to be raffling off copies of Leslyn's book, The Lymphatic Code, and Kathleen's latest book, Stress Reduction for Lymphedema. So should we, I guess, do a raffle for Leslyn's maybe like in a little bit, and then we can do Kathleen's later after she leads us through a stress reduction exercise, which would be so lovely.
I'm super excited about that.
I know, I am too. I could use it, let's just say.
Oh, me too.
Yeah. Well, before we were logging on, I was talking with Leslyn, and she mentioned that it's World Metabolic Health Day, and I was like, what is that? I have not heard of that. And would you be able to speak a little bit about what that means and its significance
Sure.
for lymphedema?
So there was interesting, I think it came out of the CDC, a report that came out that it turns out that only 12% of the US population, adult population, I bet this goes for Canada too, is only 12% are metabolically healthy. That's astounding. 88% have some kind of metabolic disorder. And so the obvious one we usually think of as a metabolic condition is diabetes, a metabolic condition, obesity, a metabolic condition. I would say any condition that is chronic and is inflammatory likely to also have a metabolic component. So I am wondering if lymphedema actually falls into that. So to do whatever you can to improve your metabolic health through diet, through activity, through stress management, getting good sleep, all those things, of the things you can control. You can't control your genetics, but there is some lifestyle things you can control that will put you on a better road to metabolic health is going to be good. And so this is new this year to celebrate World Metabolic Health Day. So it seems like today is a bunch of world days.
Yeah, because it's World Mental Health Day as well, which is a huge thing, and especially living with chronic conditions and diseases like we do with lymphedema, it can be very isolating. And I mean, we hear it every month as we gather virtually, how difficult it is for those of us in the community sometimes. So that's why it's so important having support systems such as this, and so many wonderful resources and clinicians who are advocating for us, like Leslyn and Kathleen, who are doing this wonderful research and putting these books together and making it accessible for us to live better lives. So we thank you for that. If y'all are interested in getting a copy of the Lymphatic Code, please use the raise hand function in Zoom. If you know where that is, it should be along the bottom. It might be tucked under the More menu. And Catherine is going to collect all of the raised hand names and spin the wheel in a bit. So, there's a lot of hands raised. 9 so far, 10, 11. I hope you're paying attention, Catherine.
Oh boy, man. I thought I left being able to have to pay attention. I left school a long time ago. Not really. I looks like I went to home.
We'll keep those hands raised, and Catherine will collect them, and then in a little bit we'll do the wheel spin, and that way we can get some good books out. Now, Fenton put a question in the Q&A box for you, Leslyn. He says, Dr. Keith, what is your suggestion for improving gut health, especially after taking antibiotics?
Which is not an unusual occurrence for someone with lymphedema. Unfortunately, you're at high risk, predisposed towards getting infections. I know we've heard from many people on here that talk about their repeated infections. And so what I would suggest is to preemptively have good gut health before you have to even go on to the antibiotic. And then there are some things you can do also when you're on it. But preemptively, I would say that the biggest thing is grains, and trying to go gluten-free might be especially good because grains, even if you are not celiac, they do tend to flatten out your cilia in the gut. And so grains can be particularly harmful to your gut. And so doing also fermented foods can improve your gut health. So now you're set up in a better place. Actually, Karen Ashworth has reported before, anecdotally, that her patients who went gluten-free seem to have fewer infections. Is it because they had improved their gut health? I don't know. But there was an association there. So consider that, setting yourself up with good gut health beforehand. And then if and when you do get an infection, your antibiotics, then you're always trying to replenish the good bacteria. So by eating yogurt and things like that, and maybe taking some probiotics to replenish that flora that tends to get depleted when you're taking an antibiotic, because it doesn't see the good and the bad. It's just going to destroy everything. So you can do yourself some favors there. But I think the biggest thing is to prepare yourself ahead of time, and maybe your infection will be less virulent if you have good, healthy gut.
Thank you for answering that. Oh yeah, Fenton says, thank you, Dr. Keith. I just pre-ordered organic sauerkraut.
I know, I wish I liked the taste of that. It's probably so good for you. I just don't like the taste.
It's awesome. Well,
Fenton, thanks for the comment about me being awesome, even though they had the wrong presentation up. That's awesome. It was great to see you in person again, because I've met you many times because we don't live that far away from each other.
Yeah, Fenton and his friend Layla were both there, which was really great. I didn't get a chance to see Fenton. I saw him bopping around, but I was also bopping around, so we didn't meet. Two ships passing in the night, but Layla I got to speak to a couple times, which was great. We love getting to see people in person. Brenda Seza has a question in the chat to talk about the use of the lymphedema pump, pros, cons, length of time. Well, we can certainly talk about that. It's being hosted by LymphaPress. And I also, of course, defer to our medical professionals too, as far as the technical aspects. And I do know we have one of our reps here in the watching, Ed Davis. I see you in the attendee list. Hello. So if you have anything, insights to share as well, feel free. But yeah, lymphedema pumps are another tool for the toolbox. They're really wonderful to have to help get the lymphatic fluid moving, part of your home treatment regimen. There's lots of different ones out there. Obviously, a lot of us here on the panel are lymphopressors, but it's like compression garments. You find what works for you, because the most important thing is you get what you're going to use, whether it's a pump or a compression garment or whatever part of your treatment routine. So do you have any particular questions about, I guess, pros and cons?
I would love to hear, I think, Angela, you use the pump, and I would just love to hear, she went dark, so I hope if you're still available, Angela, I'd like to hear, what you feel like the pros and cons are for you when you use it. And Amanda, you also use the pump?
Oh,
maybe you could talk about it until Angela gets here.
Yeah, that would be great.
I was going to do something super Canadian. All the geese were flying overhead coming down south to you guys, and I was going to try to catch it, and then I missed it. So anyways, I love using a pump because it does help to do a lot of work more efficiently than relying on my own self. But you get the benefits of, you do have to open everything up and you do have to get things moving with your hands before going into the pump. I think a lot of people just assume that, I'll just lie in this and it's going to completely make everything 1,000% better. And I will say there is a small population that is fortunate enough to do something like that. That's not my case. I have to kind of work at it and open things up and massage it, and it just makes the treatment so much better. And I just think if people can incorporate both techniques, I think that most people feel lighter, and like you can get ahead of the condition as long as you're consistent.
Yeah, one of my favorite stories of like pump usage is from Catherine, when she talks about, she's mentioned this before a bunch of times, but she gets up really early being a teacher, and she sets her alarm, it goes off early, she'll get into her pump and then get back to like go back to sleep while she's pumping, and then get up to start her day. So I think that's a great example of how you get it to work in your routine. Like there are people who are morning pumpers, people who are evening pumpers. I'm an evening pumper myself. Go ahead, Amanda.
Oh no, finish what you're saying.
Oh no, that's it. Like
that's just,
it. Well, it's just you make it work for you. It's like you were saying too. It helps kind of augment your treatment in a way that you can't really do. It's hard to always make time to do manual lymphatic drainage on yourself or what have you. But if you have a pump, it's kind of a set it and forget it. Like you can watch a movie, take a nap, do some emails, whatever it is. And
read a book.
Read a book. Before you speak, I just want to read real quick what Ed Davis just said in the chat too. He said, a pump is another tool in your toolbox to help you manage your condition. Your best bet is to work through your certified lymphedema therapist to find out the best plan for you. Because patients only get so many visits per year with your therapist, a pump can help you maintain all of the progress that your therapist's hard work helps you achieve. Bingo.
I was just going to further emphasize, because I think we can all agree it comes up frequently. Everyone always asks, what's the best time of day to da 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 da? It could be wear compression, it could be pumping, it could be eating, it could be exercise. What's the best time of day? The best time of day is the one that you can consistently do day in and day out. Right? I think if you gave me 5 minutes in the morning and that was something you could commit to all the time, that far surpasses doing it once a week at Sunday evening at 7, and I think so from patients' perspective, even therapist perspective, we love when you're all in and you start doing some of the work that works for your schedule.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think for me, the pump has really given me a lot more confidence, because I had a hard time accepting that I had a problem with my lymphatic system. I'm secondary lymphedema. And so it has really helped me a lot in terms of mobility, because for many years I weighed over 400 pounds. So I damaged my knees a lot. And so the pump actually helps my knees a lot because it keeps the fluid going. I feel like it used to just get in the knees and stop, but it's really helped me a lot. It's made me just a lot more confident and not so afraid of lymphedema. And in terms of the physical benefit of it, that's really all I can say about it. It's helped me all around. It's helped me to just believe that, okay, so you can't cure it, but guess what you can do? You can manage it. So
I love that. I love the idea of being more confident with your lymphedema too. I think that's really a powerful statement. Go ahead, Catherine.
So, and the other thing to make sure is that is what your pump can actually do. Because there are so many options within the different pumps that you need to really look and see what options are best for you and working with your therapist. Because I didn't know that you could turn channels off when I first got it. And that was one of the best things for me, because I had a surgery that I couldn't pump my abdomen, but my garment was an abdominal garment. So I was able to turn the channels off to allow me to still utilize it in a way that would help my leg, but not harm my abdomen. And that is super, that's an intriguing, feature that a lot of people don't realize. Another thing a lot of people don't realize is that one of the best parts of the pumping is not the inflation, but it's the deflation time. Because that allows the pumping of the fluid to actually happen. And I can tell you, and this was probably one of my perks of being at the National Lymphedema Network, I didn't bring my pump with me. Okay, well, what am I going to do? Well, LymphaPress kicked butt and let me jump into their booth and pump my leg when I needed to. So kudos to you guys on that one, because I didn't neglected to bring mine with me because it was too much. I had too much other stuff.
I know I used it too because I didn't bring my pump either. And Dominique Rogers, if people know him, the Process to Progress on Instagram, he also jumped in it at one point too. Like everybody was like, I need to get my pump time. Andrea Hinkle in the chat says, I use LymphaPress at night. I find it so relaxing. They put me right to sleep. Yes, I'm constantly, even if I'm trying to stay awake, I always fall asleep when I use my pump. It's like,
that's why I can use mine in the morning, because I put it on the wave mode in the morning, so it's nice and relaxing before I get up, and then I'll use the sequential mode where it kind of just squeezes everything out at nighttime. So I get up at 4:30 in the morning. So you can only imagine that I really don't want to get up and jump in a pump at 4:30 in the morning. I'm kind of grumpy in the morning. So this kind of wakes me up slowly and soothes my leg, and then my leg's a happy camper for the rest of the day.
Benton said in the chat, the pump actually improves not just lymph flow, but overall vascular circulation. This new circulation has been proven to improve skin repair, rejuvenation, and overall healing. That's great. Thanks, Fenton. One of the things too with the pump is like you can kind of, we were saying you can multitask. And one of the things you can multitask while you're pumping is doing stress reduction and diaphragmatic breathing, which Kathleen has spoken about before in one of our education webinars. So before we go to Kathleen, let's spin the wheel real quick and see the two people who will win a copy of the Lymphatic Code. So Catherine, let me make sure you can share the screen. So we'll show there's no funny business on picking the winner. We're going to show.
Yeah, Kathleen, I don't play no funny business. I do it all seriousness.
Mm-hmm.
My kids don't like me to play funny business.
All right. You should be able to share your screen now if you can, Catherine.
All right. Can we all see it?
If you scroll it up a little bit. There we go. Yeah. And we're going to have two winners. So we'll spin it.
I believe there was 14 names that I missed. Did anybody want to get in that I didn't get yet?
Last chance.
Last chance.
Last chance. Let's see. All right. I think that's it.
There's 14?
I believe so.
Let me double check. Hold on. Hey.
This is very cool.
Yes, this is one of my things I like to use at school, so the kids don't think that I'm picking on them or cheating on them. So I use it all the time with my classes. All right, here we go. Ready?
First winner. Drum roll. Oh, so close. Irene Stephen. You are one of the winners.
That barely went over the line.
I know. Irene, I'm going to put down your name and I'll email you separately to get your address where Leslyn can mail your book. So,
all right, I'm going to remove Irene, being she has won, so that this way she does not get a second chance to try to win a second copy. Because we have to make it fair for all. All right. Everybody ready?
We're ready.
Here we go.
So exciting. Oh. Susan Riley, you are a winner of the Lymphatic Code. So both of you can read this. If you have a pump, read it while you're pumping. It's a great
excellent multitasking there.
And I will say that I have my Lymphatic Code book all pinpointed out with all my different pieces that are my favorite parts in my book, so I can go back and reference to it. It is a great book.
So exciting. All right. Well, that's awesome. So Irene and Susan, I will be emailing you all tomorrow to get your mailing addresses. So congratulations. So let's talk about stress reduction and lymphedema, because it's Tuesday, but it feels like it should be the end of the week with all the stress. I don't know if I'm alone in that. What can you tell us about stress and lymphedema, Kathleen?
Yeah, if you have stress, it makes your lymphedema worse. And it's not just anecdotal. I really shared the science. I pulled the research and shared the science in the book. So I was rereading the book last night. It's been out for about 4 or 5 months, and I read the first chapter, and the first chapter is a really good chapter. if you want to have an explanation for lymphedema for like a family member, a loved one, someone who doesn't understand, someone who thinks lymphedema is just like a pumping problem, and like if only you just, you know, get the pump moving faster, then everything will be all right. Like when your swelling goes down, like isn't your lymphedema gone type person? It's much more complex than that. So one of the things we can do is balance the nervous system from the sympathetic fight or flight to the parasympathetic rest and digest. So Alexa did a really great lead in before we did the book, Leslyn's book, which is the breath work could be a good thing that you could fit into your self-care when you were pumping. So I have a 15-minute free YouTube video that you can play, and I'll put it in the comment section, that goes through some breath work that will help you move the lymphatic fluid while you're pumping. So we're going to try two things from that sequence now. Can I share my screen?
Should be able to. Let me know if you can't.
Okay. So let's see if I can do that here. Okay, and you can see this?
Yep.
Okay, so the first thing that we're going to do is called cyclic sighing. So I like to have a slide here so people can read and know what we're doing before and during when we're doing it. So this is from a really great paper, and one of the co-authors is Dr. Huberman from Stanford. He has an extremely popular podcast. If you're familiar with Dr. Huberman, this is a type of breathing that he's really supporting and trying to get everyone to try it. So it's called cyclic sighing. And what I also like about it is in both of the breathing, one of the things that I've learned in the past 6 months that has to do with central lymphatics is people are saying, like, move your sternum when you breathe. Pay attention to what your sternum's doing and just not just the diaphragm, because we're trying to move the pressure in the upper torso as well. So let's just stay curious about how our sternum feels. So we're going to begin in a relaxed yet alert position. Your eyes can be open or closed, and I'll invite you to exhale fully. And then breathe in through your nose. And when your lungs feel full, take another shorter inhale through the nose to fully inflate the lungs. So, and then exhale slowly. So we're going to repeat this 3 times. So breathe in through the nose. Exhale, inhale. And then a slow exhale. Breathe in through the nose. Shorter inhale. And then that exhale. And last one, inhale. Extra inhale. And then a nice exhale. So we'll go through the next one. And this next one is called slow breathing. I love this one. It's really simple, and it's also a type of breathing that we see in different cultures all around the world. So slow breathing is breathing at the rate of 6 breaths a minute, and it's a breathing frequency of 0.1 hertz. And when you get a 0.1 hertz breathing frequency, you reduce the secretion of adrenal medulla norepinephrine, which is one of those fight or flight hormones, and you reduce sympathetic nerve excitement. So we'll start again by sitting in a comfortable position, and you can close your eyes. And then I'll guide you, and we'll do this for 1 minute. So go ahead and inhale. And exhale. 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 And last inhale. And last exhale. Okay, so those were 2 quick breathing exercises, and there's much more in the book. But maybe in the chat, can people tell me, how do you feel from before we did those 2 exercises until after? Does anyone feel more relaxed? And the interesting thing is the 5-5 breathing is found in many different cultures. Praying the rosary as a group is 5-5 breathing. Many mantras are recited with a 5-second inhale and a 5-second exhale. So it's definitely, and yeah, I'm seeing Susan says she's definitely more relaxed. And if you think about it, both breathings that we did, you can do them out in the world. You don't have to sit cross-legged and pop a mudra up in order to do your breathing. You can do these breathings in your pump, but you can also do them in the line to the bank. You can do them if you know you're going to walk into a stressful situation, or definitely the 5-5 breathing if you're in the middle of a stressful situation at work. Just this regulating of the breath is something, we're here in San Diego, so we have the Navy SEALs right here. The regulating of the breath is how you gain that self-control, and then you can come and be the better husband, be the better son, be the better family member, because you have your emotions under control, and then you can give and help others. So that's 2 quick breathing exercises that you can take with you.
I love that. And Fenton said in the chat, he feels more relaxed and joyful, which I feel that too. That was really lovely, especially at the end of the day. For most, those of us on the East Coast, it's pretty late. You California girls are still a little earlier in the day than we are. So this is a nice end of the day, just recentering. So I appreciate that.
And for us, it's a nice 5 o'clock getting off of work.
There you go.
And just while you're in your car, just do 2 minutes of it, and then you're a better person when you come home to your family. Thank you.
We are going to do the drawing for Kathleen's in a bit. So use the raise hand feature. Again, it is under the more menu, sometimes at the bottom of your Zoom screen, if you'd like to be entered to win it. And in the meantime, I see we've had, while we were doing our breathing, Nazarene Starner has joined the panel. Nazarene, most of you know her. She's a certified lymphedema therapist and clinical rehabilitation specialist for the Cleveland Clinic. And we are so happy she was able to join us tonight. Thanks for coming, Nazarene.
Sorry I'm late, but that was perfect
okay.
timing for me to come on, because my daughter just got a flat tire on our way back home. So I was like, oh, yay.
Yeah.
So thank you, Kathleen. That was like perfect for me.
You're welcome.
Awesome. All right. Well, Nazarene, while we're waiting for people raising their hands, we were talking earlier about the NLN, and you also spoke. And since it is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, do you have any thoughts or insights you'd like to share with the group here on the topic, or anything awareness we should know?
I would say, just like lymphedema, they're making so many advances in breast cancer treatments, in knowing more and more about different types of genetic mutations, different types of medications. And then for us as therapists, we have a lot more knowledge about the effects of the different oncological treatments and how they affect our bodies. So for us, I would say if you are somebody who's undergone treatment for this, and you're not feeling that things are right, they might not be. And I feel like we are becoming more and more knowledgeable on ways to help yourself and get you feeling better. And we can also help you feel better too. Maybe I would even say 5 years ago versus how I treat people now, I see my patients throughout all their interventions and make sure that they're headed in the correct direction. And I just am seeing leaps and bounds in treatments of breast cancer And so it's really great. But definitely there is a lot of people there to help you out too if you're undergoing treatment. There is risk with a lot of the therapy interventions that they have, the cancer therapy interventions for lymphedema too. So, you know, not everybody's treatments are going to lend to the same possibility of getting lymphedema or location even of where it might happen. So always talk to your physician, talk to a therapist about what your surgery you had, or maybe where your radiation was, or what it might be, because depending on that, we can help you in different ways and guide you with compression, with manual lymph drainage, with exercise to help you live your best life as you're going through all of this.
Awesome. I love what you said at the beginning of that too. It's pointing out how there's been so many advances both for breast cancer and with lymphedema. And that reminded me of one of the presentations at the NLN with Dr. Kathleen Francis, I think it was. She was talking about how knowledge of the lymphatic system and lymphedema has changed in the course of her career. And I had taken a picture of one of the slides, and I'll read it. It's about good news about the future of lymphedema and lymphatic research. And it was a bullet list. So good news about the future. Research funding is continuing to increase. The lymphatic system is now recognized as vital to many organ system disorders. Possible gene therapy for primary and hereditary forms are on the horizon. Surgical techniques and standards continue to evolve. Research into possible medications is ongoing, and more therapists are training every year. And I think it's just such a good reminder to have the acknowledgement of everything that's being done. And that's why these conferences are so invigorating and re-energizing, because we get, especially as patients living with this every day. And again, it's World Mental Health Day. So, you know, we kind of can get bogged down in the low points sometimes, of the isolation or feeling tired of having to do these treatments every single day to manage our condition. But there are so many brilliant people who are working.
And women feel.
Oh, sorry. There's so many brilliant people that are working to improve our lives and the lives of the patients coming after us too. So it's a nice reminder to know that that's happening. So I thank you all for the work you're doing. Now, has everybody put in or raised their hands who want a chance to win Kathleen's book? Because if Catherine has,
There's a lot this time.
There is.
Yeah, so I'm just making sure I got everybody.
Yeah, check your list twice.
You got Amanda in there? She's raising her hand.
Well, no, I feel like that's selfish.
All right, let's see.
I want all of the books.
You want them all?
I already have Kathleen's
them
book. She
all.
sent me a copy.
Yes, I got one on Saturday before I left. It was wonderful.
Yes. Yeah, Kathleen
Vanna.
was so generous to have at the LymphaPress booth. She had a stacks of her books, and it was so awesome. It's so fun. Make sure you have Renata in the list, Catherine.
I do have.
I'm not raising my hand. I have something to say.
Oh yeah, go ahead, Amanda.
Amanda, am I putting you on the list?
It's okay. I'll get my own copy. Thank
Are
you.
you sure?
Yeah, I'm 100%. Yeah, it's kind. Thank you.
We're gonna do 2 spins, by the way.
I can
Can
say
I just-
too that if any of my patients who are on don't win it, you can borrow my copy.
Oh, so cool. Can we just go back to just the statement that you had mentioned, Alexa? And I just was pondering on it for a bit, because I think like us veterans that, again, we've had it for decades now, or the people who've had it decades and like were never diagnosed. I just remember like 20 years ago, there was like nothing. It was crickets. And even 30 years and 40 years and 50 years. And I just think everyone up in Canada, some provinces are still figuring out their way to navigate through the medical health system. But it's getting there. And for anybody at home that's desperate and upset and frustrated, you guys, it's so much more contagious now and so much more getting now. Like it's like wildfire. It's only going to multiply. And for anybody sitting at home thinking, what can you do? How can you help? Showing up is just, I commend everyone for showing up, even to like for LymphaPress, the conferences and just education, and even the patient professionals melding together. I think out of all communities, this one is the craziest one, because I think the therapists and the professionals have really relied on their patients, as well as vice versa. I don't know if that's the same in like cardiac or maybe other illnesses. I might be biased that the lymphatic community is the best. So take that into advisement, but just what a powerful statement, and just such a gift of hope.
Yeah. Yeah, and even at the conference there was a fashion show, and it was mostly patients, and some therapists like Nazreen participated, and
Oh, don't forget you, Alexa. You were too.
I did participate. My boss's daughter custom painted a Lympha jacket with these beautiful jellyfish and everything all over it, and so I got to wear that down the runway. And it was all mostly patients, and they were wearing bright colored garments, and it was so powerful. And there's this one patient who was there, and she had cervical cancer, and she developed secondary lymphedema after that. And she was saying, you know, I never really engaged with the community. I didn't know there was one. I didn't really want to acknowledge my lymphedema. Like, it just was something that I was stuck with, and I just had to wear the sock and whatever. But then after the fashion show, she was like, oh my God, I love my lymphedema. Like, she was just like so excited, because it allowed her to have this chance to meet all these people and have this experience. Like Layla, she just said in the chat, I saw the fashion show practice and it brought me tears of joy. And yeah, I had tears at the end when we were all standing in a line and just standing in power with each other, wearing our garments. We're so used to hiding it, and for once it was on display, like proudly, and that was the whole point of it. And it was really cool. So I kind of went on a tangent there, and I apologize, but it was just like that feeling of, you know, getting to be proud of this thing that we live with, rather than hate it or resent it. It was kind of nice to flip the switch on it a little bit. So
and it was pretty cool because none of you had a beige garment on. They were
Right.
all fun colors,
Oh,
tie-dye,
cool.
and patterned, so that this way you can kind of really show it off. And you guys did a great job doing that.
Thank you. Maybe I'll pull up a picture after you do the drawing, because Dr. Wei Chen of the Cleveland Clinic, he also participated in the fashion show, and he also wore some Juzo patterned garment. I think it was Juzo, but
He had tie-dye on his, he had
yeah.
tie-dye thigh-highs on blue.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. Well, how about we do the wheel spin real quick while I dig up these pictures.
Right, here we go. And I have 17 names on our list. Can we see my wheel?
Yes.
Okay.
I want to push the button. I want to feel like it's like an interactive.
All right,
like,
Amanda, you ready? You're
ready.
gonna act like you're gonna push the button, and I'm gonna click it for you. You ready?
I'm on it. Tell me.
All right, ready? 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
Teamwork.
We got to do this twice too, right?
Yes.
Yep.
I love when people win. It makes me so
Layla,
happy. Yeah.
congratulations.
Congratulations, Layla. You got a book.
All right, I'm gonna remove Layla's name, and we're gonna go for round 2. Amanda, are you ready?
I got it.
All right, here we go. Ready? 1,
Yeah.
2, and 3.
Nice. Nailed it. Way to go. Amanda, how was your day? The best.
Oh, Sherry, lucky day. Oh, wait, I thought you had won the other one. Okay, but still very lucky. Yay.
Did
Okay,
she win
Sherry's
that one? I thought she
record.
did.
Congratulations, both of you. All right, I'm gonna I'll email you both tomorrow as well and get your mailing addresses, so we have that. And now I'm gonna share my screen to show you guys some of the fashion show pictures real quick. So let me know if you can see this.
Oh.
So here we have Dr. Chen in his garments, some patients, lovely patients wearing, this is the new Medi night garment. This looks like a Juzo. Nazreen in her lovely purple tie-dye. I love how she had one leg and one arm. He's wearing a compression stocking. This is, of course, the classic tribute. She did awesome. There's me in the jacket I have another picture of. She had a beautiful garment in this pretty like wine color, and then Dominique he had two garments on. He had his regular one and then a midi knee high, which was awesome. And then, oh, here's the back of the jacket, so you can see.
Oh wow, that's gorgeous.
Yeah,
eh?
and then this
So
hat.
did you,
that she
Kate, biggest
painted.
question, did you get to keep the jacket?
We raffled it off. We're big on raffles at Lymphapress. We're doing all these raffles tonight. We raffled it off, and the winner is getting it shipped to them. And this hat has all the tubing removed, so it was kind of like the tentacles. So it was a really fun time. So yeah, and that was that. So.
And the one fun comment about the garment is I have never seen Dr. Shen outside of like scrubs or a suit. And when I caught the arm, like the pattern, it looked like he had the sleeve of tattoos. So like from 20 feet away, you're just like, dude, you're so cool. And then I was like, oh, it's a garment. Like that garment is so cool. I was like, oh, that is such a great option. Yeah, like you said, like no beige. I love that there was no beige.
Yeah, I don't ever wear beige. Like those of you that saw me in person saw me in cranberry, you saw me in navy, you saw me in actually like a purplish color, but I don't ever wear beige unless I wore beige once. And that was for parent-teacher conferences. And my students actually told me, can you please go home and change your garment? Because that's not how we know you. So we want our parents to know you the way we know you.
Oh, that's so
now I have my kids this year looking at me and trying to figure out what colors I'm going to wear because I have a million.
That's so awesome. See, I'm a neutrals girly. I always have the beige or the black, but I admire those of you who wear the colors. I think that's so cool. But we only get so many with my insurance anyway, so I'm like, I gotta be practical. But one of these days I'll get a color.
I'll get you outside the box, Alexa.
Yeah. Well, we got a question in the Q&A box from Lourdes. She wants to know, why does the toe next to the big toe get so swollen? When the round table started, it looks fine. Now hers is swollen and she has her leg raised. What could possibly be contributing to toe swelling?
I'm going to see what Nazreen says. All I can think of is maybe another comorbidity, like, you know, either an arthritis or gout or something like that that could be going on. I have not seen the second toe flare
So
up.
I'm just wondering, are you wearing like a compression toe sock? And is this an all the time thing, or did this just happen today? Or did you just take it off and then maybe it had been kind of bound down?
Restricted.
So like sometimes restricted, or sometimes people need new garments, like if it's cutting into you, or are you wearing an open toe garment and does it cut you there? And maybe when you're walking, it's binding you there. I don't know. Or if it's a closed toe garment, is the seam there?
Yeah.
Could maybe be my thought. Yeah, I'm wondering if it's something to do with taking the garment off, or if the garment's, well, I guess the garment's probably off if you can see your toe.
Yeah.
Right. So
unless it's an open toe garment, because then you could see your toes at all times.
that's true. So then maybe it's not the right fit. I haven't seen something though, like Leslyn's saying, I would imagine it would be something like arthritis though, or some sort of inflammation, but I would almost think more it's something with the garment. It gets like this often with any kind of garment. And do you wear custom garments, I guess, is another question, because sometimes the way that our toes are is, you know, if one's longer than the other, the tarsal head may hit a little bit differently on one than the other. So sometimes people do need to get into custom garments if the shaping of their toe is a little different there, would be a guess. I apologize, you know, with a lot of my people, I seriously have to try everything till we figure out what does work, which is expensive. And like Alexa's saying, when you don't get many options throughout the year, I sometimes try something new every 6 months
You could also try, if you needed to, instead of getting a toe cap to try to see if that fixed it, you could always try wrapping your toes and see if you're wearing an open toe garment, if you wrap your toes along with it, does that still happen when you take it off? Because if it doesn't, then that would probably mean potentially you would have success with a toe cap. And that's a much cheaper version than trying a toe cap and not knowing if it's going to work.
And I saw she said insurance doesn't cover any garment, so I'm sorry. So I don't want you to spend all your pennies. Kinesio tape also works really well for swelling. So if you're with a therapist, that might be something to try, just like Catherine was saying, to see if the swelling does come down at all. Then it might be more of a compression issue versus an arthritis issue.
And also, it's interesting though that it flared up just during this hour that we've been here, and so
with it raised,
it does make me. It sounds like it's something more, restrictive or constrictive, or sometimes gout can, go pretty quickly. So if there's any discoloration or pain associated with the swelling, and a lot of those conditions like arthritis and gout, there's blood tests you could do to figure out if that's what you got going on.
Can I piggyback on that?
of course.
Possible food triggers. If you just had supper and you've come, I know I can eat something and I call it my thermostat in my leg. I can feel it tingle. Everybody with lymphedema has one. If you don't know you have one, you just haven't been paying attention. Everybody has. And it'll react to the foods that don't agree with you. So pay attention.
I guess I would wonder if I'm so sorry. I would wonder if it's always swollen though. Sorry.
What did you say? No, go ahead.
I was just wondering if it's always swollen and you only notice it when you put it up, because like what Amanda was saying, sometimes like with some intestinal GI issues where there's more like issues going on there, toe swelling can actually be a symptom of that, rather than, us thinking right away, we already have lymphedema, it has to be that. Just like you're saying, sometimes that can actually be a symptom of some other GI issues.
And I was going to say, I don't mean to be so funny about this, but it's always so funny from a patient's perspective. We ask a simple question like, why does this happen? And then we go on like 16 different directions. There's just so many different probabilities. And I think it happens. Yes. And like, I think even from a patient's perspective, everyone's like, well, what type of compression? Well, maybe, sure. But and it just, every single thing that you do, it just has like arteries. And just be patient with the process, try to be a detective, keep your chin up, and take pictures if you're really concerned, and just keep showing up and ask questions, and that's the best you can do. But don't let it get you down if you don't get it right the first time around.
Kathleen in the chat just now, she said, I liked watching Sherlock Holmes so much, I decided to become a lymphedema therapist. That's
yes. Ain't that the truth? That is so true. We have to be detectives to figure out what works and what doesn't work, because what
you
works.
guys remember Carmen Sandiego back in the day?
Oh yes.
Yes.
I actually saw at the NLN Jean Lamantia. She's a dietitian. She had these really cool, and she has an Etsy shop. And I'll put the link, or her website, I guess they're through, but she made these like treatment or symptom tracking journals. So I'll put the link to that in the chat. I haven't used them yet, but you can track daily, and then she has this weekly one too that's a little bit bigger. And you track what you did for your treatment that day, or any food you ate, so you can kind of see what potential triggers and patterns over time, and your measurements and stuff. So let me grab the link for that and put that in the chat, because that's, I think, a really neat tool. I used to bullet journal, and I would manually like make these charts and things, but this is so much handier.
Remember that when you're looking for patterns, to make sure you're giving your body enough time to adjust if you're trying to adjust something to change, because sometimes each person's body is going to react differently and take either a slower or a quicker time frame. So make sure, I would suggest like a 2-week time frame if you're trying to adjust something to make it better for you, that you at least give yourself 2 weeks. Because if you don't, you may miss what the actual effect, positive or negative, actually is on that particular either food item, compression item, different things.
Mhm. A good point. Lourdes said the lymphedema roundtable is the best medicine for me. Thank you. Oh, we love that. We get so much out of it too, and it's so much support being here each month, and we really appreciate everybody who comes. Fenton says, for me, the little toe always gets either left open in toe caps, squeezed, and chapped out in shoes. My foot tends to roll laterally outwards, which for me causes pain in my little toes if I'm on my feet for a longer time. Yeah, that is quite a pain, literally. I'm so sorry, Fenton. While I'm trying to find this link, we're down, well, it's 9 o'clock now, so we're going to go over a few minutes. Let's go around the panel and share something that you're pumped about this month. It could be from all of these conferences. It could be just, just something in general in your life that you're excited about. Let's start with you, Leslyn, up at the top in my screen. Put you on the spot.
I am pumped that I just found out, like just before the conference, that Dr. Idkin got a grant for him to develop a drinkable contrast. A lot of people have lymphatic leaks coming out of their intestines, and we cannot find that with any other imaging. And so to be able to use a drinkable contrast and to be able to image this anywhere, because you just need a PET scan machine to look at it, I think is going to help diagnose a lot of people who are having issues in their trunk, head, and neck from these issues that are happening with the intestinal lymphatic. So he got the grant, and we're going to be developing that, and I'm super jazzed about that.
That's
I'm
incredible.
going to piggyback off of what Leslyn said, because he did make one additional comment, which was that I believe he said that testing would be available as of July. So it's not that far away. So, because we're in October, so it's less than a year away, which is huge, because a lot of times these types of things do take a long time. So that means that potentially people who are ineligible right now to get that testing done could potentially have the ability to be at least identified, not fixed, because remember, not everybody can be fixed, but you would have a better idea of knowing, do you have the potential of having this issue? And you can learn different ways and modalities to work with it if you are or are not a candidate to be able to have your system fixed or repaired.
Really, really cool. Thank you, Catherine and Leslyn. Who else says something they want to be pumped about or share with the class?
I'm pumped about attending Nazarene's class last weekend. That image of how you help the client to resensitize the breast was just amazing. I have a plastic surgeon that sends me like his explants, and there's a lot of cosmetic and reconstructive breast surgery here, and it's really great to be able to give them a resource that they can use to actively help themselves, get sensation and kind of accept that body part back into their body and their psyche, instead of just, what we were doing before was like, oh, you just have to wait, like these things might take 2 years, and for the client to have something that they can do that's nourishing to their spirit and their body is amazing. So thanks so much for sharing that with us.
That's amazing. Thank you.
We're a huge team. Your lymphedema therapists are a huge team.
So I'm going to just talk now since I'm on. I am super pumped about all these new resources, just like she's saying, of therapists across the United States. I have sent messages to people in California, in Texas. Just since this conference, I am writing people everywhere already for patients who are coming into Cleveland. And so I just have all these new people that I can reach out to. And I feel like treating as a lymphedema therapist can sometimes be a little bit overwhelming. And sometimes we don't have all the support, maybe because people don't fully know what we do. And so to go to a conference where everybody does what you do and knows what you do and is excited and just wants to help is just reinvigorating. So that was really exciting to go there. It did make me very happy. And it's so good to see so many of you there too. And I'd never met Catherine before. So that was great for me too.
And you were in basically my hometown area because I was not that far from there. So you guys got to see a little northeastern United States here. So I hope you guys enjoyed the Philadelphia area. I know there's, some quirks to it, but that's everywhere. But hopefully you got to enjoy and get some sightseeing in while you were here too.
I don't think I left the hotel the whole time I was there, unfortunately.
So Alexa, you didn't make it to the art museum to see the Rocky Steps?
I didn't even do that.
Oh my, you were like 3 blocks away.
I know. I'm not far from Philly. I got to go back.
I'll meet you there.
Thank you.
Okay.
Angela, you've been so quiet all hour. I'm putting you on this.
I was in the dentist office for 4 hours today. So
okay. So you have a doctor's note. You don't have to.
yeah, but, I am pumped. I'm pumped because I have to be so honest with myself about myself. I am my biggest critic and I try to truly be accountable. And I'm just pumped about being grateful because so often I'm not. So I'm just really pumped about being grateful.
I love that. I really love that. Amanda, what are you pumped about this month?
I'm pumped that everyone's pumped and that it's just really contagious. I feel like I'm boring a little bit. I'm all like choked up. It's really, I've been working a lot on gratitude myself. I haven't been the healthiest of peoples lately. So waking up every day and being thankful and training to be thankful and just your contagiousness and research and advancements and community. And I'm just so grateful to be on this panel. So yeah, I'm pumped because you guys are pumped. So we're all pumped.
All the cool kids are pumped. So
and you're at home to be pumped. If you're not pumped,
get out of
get
here.
Pumped. Get pumped. Yeah.
I love that. Yeah, I'm pumped on that too. And kind of like what Nazreen was saying, like about going to the conference, the NLN is always one of my favorite events to go to because you see so many people in the community that you know, whether it's just online or you just see their name everywhere, or you already are friends with them and it's the only time you get to see each other in person. So it's just a blast. And getting there, working with LymphaPress, I get to go to these conferences and I'm so thankful for that. And it's just so much fun. And what Angela said earlier about being confident with your lymphedema and in your treatment of your lymphedema, that's something I'm gonna nibble on for the rest of the month. I think I really liked that, and I like the idea of building that confidence. So I appreciate that. So all right. Oh, Andrea Hinkle real quick asked in the host and panelists, any resources besides the roundtable you can suggest? Yeah, there's lots. There's so many out there. The LymphaPress website, we have a lot of articles, webinars. We have them on our YouTube channel as well. On my website, I don't mean to be like, go to my website, but I have a list of links. And I'm going to put that here in the chat that has all different organizations and other bloggers and people too. And if anybody else on the panel or in the chat has stuff they want to add for Andrea, go ahead and pop it in there as we wrap up. Fenton says, the NLN conference was awesome to see so many therapists, advocates, vendors, and fellow patients. I am grateful for everyone's support and passion here. Thank you, and God bless all of you. Thanks, Fenton. We so appreciate you being here all the time, too. You're like one of our regulars, and we love it. We love seeing Fenton from Trenton. So as people are putting more resources in the chat, I'm going to do our little outro here with the reminder that we are here every second Tuesday of the month at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you can't make it live, we encourage you to still register so you can get the replay to your email. we always upload them to the YouTube channel and on the LymphaPress podcast. So if you go on Spotify or wherever you listen to podcasts, type in LymphaPress and you can get audio versions of our roundtables, and our patient interviews and our medical professional interviews are also on there. So you can listen wherever you are, listen in your pump while you're doing your breathing, or while you're, well, you don't want to listen while you're reading. That requires some mental, agility that I don't think we all have. But as we mentioned earlier, Dr. Jasmine Zhang from Penn Medicine is going to be joining us in November. So that's going to be a really cool roundtable too. And that's pretty much all she wrote, guys. I think that's what we got. This was like an awesome time. We're 10 minutes over, but I think that's amazing. It was great conversation. And we just appreciate you spending this time with us and being here with us. So with that, we're gonna disperse into the night. Leslyn just put another link in the chat, so make sure you're grabbing all the links and stuff before we close off here. And I'll make sure to include them in the replay email too. So I'll try and grab them also. But everybody have a fantastic rest of your month. Happy Halloween, says Fenton. If you have any lymphedema themed costumes, please let us know in November. We'd love to hear it. Some mummies with your bandage wraps or something. All right, everybody. And the book winners, I'll email you tomorrow to get your addresses. So thanks again. Have a great evening, and we'll see you next month. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.